Oftentimes when we think of shadow, we think that it's the dark aspect of our personality or something that is undesirable. But I have a different perspective on this. For me, shadows are just hidden and unconscious aspect of ourselves. And unconsciousness doesn't mean it's negative. Shadow can be both positive and negative. For example, you can have a hidden talent or potential in something, but because you don't define yourself as good in that particular thing, you don't explore it, and because you never give it the time and the chance to be developed, you are unaware of how good you are at it. And the reason why our shadow seems dangerous or negative is because we often use it when we are stressed, or we use it in a very clumsy or unconscious manner. When we have a better awareness of this shadow function, we can use them at appropriate time and integrate them into our life in a healthy manner. I'm just going to go through the main cognitive function of an INFJ here, and also briefly what the shadow function are. And if you already know this, you can just skip ahead with the timestamp below. So in the case of INFJ, our main function, our top four functions are our dominant function, which is the introverted intuition, our auxiliary function, which is our extroverted feelings, FE. Our third function, our tertiary function, is introverted thinking, TI. Our fourth function, inferior function, is our extroverted sensing, SE. Our shadow function will be our last four functions. These are our least preferred function, and these functions are functions that we don't identify as ourselves, our personality. They are the extroverted intuition, NE, introverted feeling, FI, extroverted thinking, TE, and introverted sensing, SI. I know in the MBTI community, people often use terms like the opposing role or nemesis to describe the first shadow function, or the critical parent or witch to describe the second shadow function, the trickster to describe the third shadow function, the demon to describe the fourth shadow function. I don't like to use these terms because they describe the shadow function in a very negative light. Just because like I am an INFJ and I don't have the preference to use my introverted sensing SI for example, doesn't mean that it's demonic. You have to understand that the function that is the least preferred by you is a function that is most preferred by another MBTI type. And just because I like to use NI function more, doesn't mean that NI is more superior than SI or SI is negative. Just like I mentioned in my previous video, I mentioned that all these cognitive functions are like color pencil or color pen. You use your favorite color most of the time, but you can also add a little bit of those colors that you don't normally use to give your drawing an extra flavor. So how can we integrate this function into our lives? I will go through them one by one. Starting from the first shadow function, extroverted intuition, NE. NI is a convergent function, while NE is a divergent function. So when you are using the NI, you want to have a conclusion for the subject matter. You want to derive an answer, a conclusion. When you are using NE, you want to open yourself up to infinite possibility, limitless possibility. So you don't want to have one answer, you want to have many answers. NI is great for INFJ, but when we are too fixated on our ideas of vision, it can cause some issue. For example, a decade ago, so I was fixated on my animation job. Like, I thought that was the ideal job for me. But when it didn't work out, I was kind of lost. I have nothing else. I have no other options because I'm so attached to this vision and this idea. And I ended up feeling depressed because I have nothing else. When you're too fixated on something, your conclusion, your answer, like this is the ideal job for me, this is the ideal partner for me, you might get into trouble when the things that you think is going to work out doesn't work out. This is where NE comes in handy, because NE is about exploring ideas for the sake of exploring ideas. You don't have to have a conclusion. It's more about being curious and wondering what kind of possibility that could happen in the future. So it's open-ended. So what I do nowadays is I still have my NI conclusion, I still have my ideal vision, but I'm not as fixated on my vision anymore. I give room for exploration of other ideas. Initially, using any is not easy for an INFJ. It feels uncomfortable to have things open-ended. An INFJ like me will feel a bit uneasy when there isn't a conclusion. But when you're trying to integrate any into your life, you can start with things that are not that important first. For example, like where to eat or where to have fun or like which country you would like to travel to. These are the things you can be lighthearted and have more fun doing, research on or like thinking about the possibilities. You can just give yourself like 30 minutes or an hour a week to just explore ideas. And the thing is, you don't have to carry out the ideas. It's more about exploration. It's not so much about executing the ideas. I, as an INFJ, find it a little bit difficult to do this, but my INFP brother has tons of ideas. Whenever I ask him, like, we are traveling to the east side of Singapore, is there anything fun or to do there? He always like, oh, you can do this, you can do that, you can eat this, you can eat that. But when I sit down and think, I brainstorm ideas on myself, it's like nothing. It's like, it's not easy. So it will take some time for you to get used to using NE. So what else can you explore? You can like give yourself an imagined scenario, like if I have a new home, how am I going to design it? Like what will I want to put in my house? Or if I have $1 million, what am I going to buy? Like the key here is to have fun. Your NI brain will still want to conclude, but the key here is not to conclude. Just keep it open-ended. Sometimes we may feel stressed because there's so many ideas, but what is causing the stress is not really the exploration of ideas like the different possibility. It's because our NI brain keeps wanting to have the urge to conclude it quickly, and that's what causes the stress. And when you conclude it too quickly, you don't get to explore more ideas. Like when I try to find new songs to sing, I always like try to think, oh, does this song fits my vocal range or not? And when I do that, it's kind of suck out the fun of exploration. Exploration is just about having fun. And we can learn a lot of this from like INFP or like ENFP or like ENTP. I'm not asking you to discard your NI brain. Your NI brain is still very useful. Like for example, to have conclusion and form insight like when I'm doing this video. Or maybe you want to use it in your career as a psychologist, a coach or a counselor, but you don't want to use it when it comes to simple things like your lifestyle or your recreation. This thing you can keep it open-ended. The second shadow function is introverted feeling, FI. This is such an important function to integrate for an INFJ because we use our FE too much. We focus too much on other people's needs or their emotions that we forget our own emotion and our own needs. This can lead to burnout, people-pleasing, codependency, or having like vague personal boundaries. FI is a function where we understand our own values and emotion better. We need to have this balance between caring about other people and caring about ourselves. Eventually, all INFJ will understand that this FI function is very important to them. We can't just care for other people and wait for others to care for us. Like you probably hear this example a lot. Like when you are having a crisis on the plane, you want to wear your own oxygen mask first. You don't help other people wear their masks and they help you wear your mask. It seems a little bit romantic, but it's not very effective, right? Your hands will be tangled up with each other. The way you want to integrate FI is to spend some time to journal what is important for you. And you want to do this in a quiet space, away from people. Because I know when we are around people, we tend to get influenced by others due to our second function, extroverted feeling. And you also want to practice mindfulness and be aware of what you're feeling from time to time. You want to be able to tell what is your emotion and what is other people's emotion. And I have a video on this on my main channel, you can check it out. And after you're aware of your values and your emotion, you want to exert your boundaries from time to time. Again, you want to pick your battle. I'm not telling you to change your INFJ personality, like you just go around and exert your needs and boundaries for everything. I'm asking you to pick and select those areas of your life or the things that are really valuable to you and exert your boundary on these things. I have two FI dominant brothers. One is INFP and another is ISFP. Both of them have very strong value. They know when somebody steps their boundary or do something that is against their value and they will express it. As an INFJ, I tend to be accommodating and have very loose values, like it's very fluid. So for most things like where to eat or like where to have fun, I would just accommodate other people. But what I find that if it's something that is truly important to you, you have to speak up and don't be afraid of disappointing others because other people will get over it eventually. And when you are able to voice out your values, people will respect you more in the long run. So definitely spend some time to do some journaling and some self-reflection to truly understand what is important to you. The third shadow function is extroverted thinking, TE. If you find yourself difficult to show up in this world and not able to achieve your goals, TE is the function you want to integrate into your life. TE is about organizing the external world or even people in a logical manner, making things very productive and efficient. And I know some INFJ may dislike or even detest TE or perceive TE user as too controlling, too practical, too logical and insensitive, or even manipulative. We may feel uncomfortable in highly structured environments or things that are too systematic. But TE really helps to get things done. It helps you to execute your vision. Personally, I don't like to have a set plan. I don't like things to be too fixed. But I'll still set goals or have an action plan or a weekly to-do list. And I also will give myself deadlines because these things help me to get some kind of focus. If I just wake up every day and not knowing what I want to do and not having a plan, I will just end up in other people's agenda because of my FE function, because I'm so easily influenced by other people's agenda and people's energy. Therefore, I always have a weekly plan or a schedule to fall back on. If today I don't know what I'm going to do, I can at least look at my schedule. It will give me some kind of focus and some kind of structure, especially someone like me who is self-employed. If I don't have some kind of plan or some kind of schedule, I will end up watching random TV programs or like go in circles wondering what I'm going to do today. But the way I like to do this is I don't follow my plan completely. Or if I don't make my goals or my deadline, that's fine, I'll just push it back. I won't blame myself or shame myself if I don't meet my goals or deadlines. I have a plan, but I rely on my intuition to tell me if I want to follow it today or not. I will kind of deviate from my plan if I need to. The plan is just there as a background support to give me some decision when I'm lost. It's not a definite guide or map that I have to follow. My intuition is still the ultimate guide I use. The fourth shadow function is introverted sensing SI. SI is about processing the sensory information inwards. Like when you are feeling hungry or in pain, you will know. SI is very important to INFJ because it helps us to develop body awareness. I don't know if you have experienced this, but sometimes we're so engrossed in our work or our vision that we ignore our hunger. This is not really good for the body and your health in the long run. It's better to have like routine or fixed eating time. SI is all about routine. After spiritual awakening, the way I integrate SI is I practice mindfulness. I pay more attention to my body sensation. SI is also about collecting data and details from the past to help inform us what to do in the future. And it's not that INFJ have bad memories. We tend to overload the sensory information in the beginning. Like our SE is inferior, is our fourth function. We don't pay a lot of attention to details in our surrounding. This is a preference, not a capability. We are more interested in the big picture rather than the details, especially when we find the details as meaningless and it doesn't add value to the whole big picture. And because we lack this sensory input, it results in a lack of memory of this sensory information. When we don't pay attention to the sensory information in the first place, of course our memory of it will be bad. When I talk to my brothers about things from the past, I do remember stuff, but what I remember are things that have an emotional impact on me. But I don't remember the details of what I'm wearing, like what I was doing on that day, because this information is less important to me. I focus more on the big picture. But as a content creator and a writer and a blogger, I still find SI very important because I often have to share my story and experiences with others. And if I don't remember the details, it will make the story less compelling. So to integrate SI, you can keep a journal or a diary and write down the things that happen during the day. You want to capture important details so that they are not lost or forgotten. Even for work, I also jot down all the routine tasks and all the procedures so that I don't have to remember it, so that I can refer to it when I need it, and so that I can clear my mind and my memory space for things that are more important. I know INFJ don't like to follow tradition or routines unless they are meaningful. Some may even perceive SI user as too rigid, conservative, or resistant to change and growth. But SI is still important. Having healthy routines and habits, and having fixed things or tasks to do each day that you can follow on a regular basis will help to add more stability into your life. If you want more videos like this to help you grow as an INFJ, do subscribe to the channel here and watch this next video to see how you can use MBTI to help you to grow.